Guys, welcome to another episode of Life I'm Gonna podcast. Amazing result, amazing game. I thought that's probably the most entertaining game I've seen in a while. It's sometimes often like when you're playing a lot of Premier League games, it's often good to get away from Premier League games and watch a different competition because Premier League games is more like chess, so there's not a lot going on, and it's not very pleasing to look at. So it's good to see our players playing other cup competitions every once in a while just to kind of rid your mind or free yourself of the I don't want to say toxic, but of the very yeah, the Premier League. All right, guys. So 3-1, Arsenal 3, Inter Milan 1. Um, a lot of noteworthy points in this game, but overall the game was pretty good. Actually, pretty entertaining, as I suggested before. Um, the starting lineup actually wasn't too far off, but there was a couple changes. So Mosquera came in for Gabriel Magalhaes. Trossard came in for Martinelli, Salah came in for Madueke, and Timber for White. Right, so those are the changes that I got wrong from my starting 11, predicted starting 11. Um, so let's go into it. First off, right, so we started with a good high intensity and a good high tempo. We're pressing high presses, high presses, high presses. And now it's been a while since Arsenal started the game on the front foot. I was so happy to see how we started this game. And funnily enough, it came in a team where we made so many changes. But it was very, 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 very good to see. Um, First goal, 10 minutes, Gabriel Jesus. As a result of the high pressing, as a result of the high tempo and high intensity, Merino had a shot. It deflected off of a defender, went to Gabriel Jesus, and he reacted very well, I must say. His awareness was very sharp, and he was able to volley it and dispatch 1-0, 10th minute. We were in control of the game. I feel like we're in control of the game for the entirety of the game, but specifically in the first half an hour, it was absolutely controlled by Arsenal. Maybe even longer, if I'm being honest. Maybe I can say the first half. Um, yeah, so we need to start games. We need to start all our games like this if we can. Um, all right, so there was a defensive calamity. So I just don't understand, where Lewis Kelly is concerned. I can understand Mosquera because he's been off for a while, but for the life of God, bro, just clear the ball. Like if you are doubtful, if you're feeling shaky, if you haven't had time to assess your surroundings, just clear the ball. You never go wrong with a cleared ball, and that's one thing that I can tell you. If you're a defender, if you have any kind of apprehension or any kind of like doubt, just clear the ball. All right, so in 18th minute, that's 1-1. Um, I started to wonder when this goal was scored when I saw that, just because it never looked good. But we regained control. Set piece FC, another goal, Gabriel Jesus, 2-1. Um, so corner kick, far post, ball back into the box by Trossard, and Gabriel Jesus was at the right place at the right time, and a good headed finish. And Gabriel Jesus is not known for headers, and he's a very, very short guy, comparatively speaking. So it was good to see that he, at least has that in his game. And if he knows how to position himself to benefit from it. Um, 35 minutes, counter attack, and Saka didn't even hit the target. Saka's overall game has been overall, I don't want to say poor, but it has not been the Saka that we've known. It's been wide of the mark. You can always tell, and people have been saying this, that, but you can always tell when a player, you can tell the poor form of a player that is miscontrolling the ball, when the ball is bouncing off of him, when he looks clumsy, when he's shooting, and somebody who is normally very accurate, the ball is going wayward all over the place. And that has been basically Saka's season in a nutshell. Obviously, he's had good moments. He's a good player. So that hasn't been the entirety of his season, but a lot of his season has been that. Um, And I just hope that Saka finds that rhythm again. Because it's just a matter of time. Because you can see that he's there. He's just, I guess everybody, at some point has a little downer. His own is not that bad. It's just, it's just a rhythm. Um, guys, I don't know if you realize, but the Inter Milan midfield has a lot of holes in it. So many holes. I saw at one point I saw Saliba take up the ball from his own half, from his box, and ran straight through, almost to the edge of Inter Milan's penalty area with no problem. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And at that point, I said, this would be a lovely game for Gyökeres to start or to be a part of because Gyökeres needs space. Gyökeres is a player that is not very doesn't think very quickly. He's very clumsy. Kind of reminds me of a Romelu Lukaku and why he never ever was able to succeed in the Premier League because you don't have the time. You have to be um you have to have a certain game to play in the Premier League. And I know disrespect, but you have to have a high IQ as well because you just don't have the time. So you have to be one step ahead to be successful in the Premier League. And when I say successful, I mean players that have good numbers, that are known as, being in the top five, top 10 in the league in their position. That's what I mean when I'm saying successful. Because there's a lot of filler players in the Premier League in many teams. But you don't want to be a filler player. You want to actually, you know, anyways, guys, second half, more of the same. We controlled. Obviously, there was moments in Inter Milan, we're playing Inter Milan. There are a few moments where, we were under some pressure, but we're able to cope. Um, so there was a ball in the second half, close to the beginning of the second half, where Jesus put Saka in on goal. And Saka just took a age and a half. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying about Saka. The Saka of a year ago, maybe even a couple of months ago, that would have been in the roof for the net. But he just took so long, and it's that apprehension from knowing, and I know he knows that he's not having the best of seasons. And I know he knows that his goal scoring numbers aren't what they should be, and that his finishing has been wayward. And this plays on a player, and when the trend continues, you can identify that this player is having a tough go of it, in that certain aspect of the game. Yeah, so I thought that was very poor. In a position like that, you have to. I mean, it wasn't a plate. You have to be minimum testing the keeper. Um, Inter Milan introduces Esposito for Lamar for Martinez. And it's so funny because when I saw Esposito is a 21-year-old and he's an enormous guy, center forward, and I thought he had a tremendous impact on the game when he came on. He was causing hell for Mosquera. Um, Big, powerful, combative, assured, had good passing on him. And I thought to myself, just after that cameo, I was just like, yo, see, this is what I want to see from your careers. He was able to get shots off from nothing. And he looked really, really good. And I was surprised that he was 21 and having such an impact on the game. Um, where are we now? All right, so goal, right? 84 minutes, 3-1 to Arsenal. Gyökeres. So Gyökeres comes on for Gabriel Jesus. Um, he looked lively. It looked like a game that he would try to get into. He looked very lively. He looked very positive coming onto the field. So I was happy to see him in that frame of mind because at the end of the game, I can't remember if it was the Chelsea game that he scored in. Even though he scored and his performance was pretty good. In the grand scheme of things, I thought that he looked unhappy and it was a little bit confusing, but it was good to see him in a better frame of mind, in a better mood coming on to this game. Um, he was getting in and around. He was getting on the balls. He was trying to do things, and when you try different things, and when you have an appetite and you're positive and you do all the things that you need to do, you are rewarded. And he was given his reward. Right, that goal, top bins, Gyökeres. goal. That is Gyökeres' goal in a nutshell. That is his type of goal. And when you're persistent, you get your reward. This is why Gyökeres needs to insist and insist and insist, and then it doesn't work. You keep insisting, right? Because sometimes when you're insisting and probing, you get your reward, right? You don't always have to have a spectacular day at the office, but you have to keep going. You have to keep trying and try different things. Um, the funny thing about this game is that and I suggested, I alluded to this earlier. Every game that Gyökeres does not start, you think to yourself, this is a Gyökeres game. He should be on the pitch. So it was good to see him come on the pitch and get some minutes and to see him score even more so. All right, so the game ended 3-1, guys. I was happy that we were able to make a lot of changes. I was happy that we were still able to give a little bit of minutes. I would have preferred Rice to have stayed home whenever needed to put him on. Um, guys, let's talk about Eze for a second. I was about to finish this, but let's talk about Eze for a second. I'm going to do a separate pod on Eze podcast. But guys, I just don't know. He just looks lost. He just looks lost. His passes are not coming off. He's getting caught on the ball many times. His press is not where it should be in any phase of the game. He doesn't look happy. I don't know, guys. But I want to do a separate podcast on that one. But anyways, all is positive. 3-1. We were able to give people who need the rest. Some people never came on the field. Odegaard. So far, some people only got a few minutes. Declan Rice. Timber came off. Ben White was able to get some minutes in his legs. So forth and so forth. All right, guys. So I'm going to do a player ratings video in the coming hours, so you can look out for that. Um, and it's after Manchester United, guys, on the weekend, Sunday at Emirates, right? So, again, like the fans, Arsenal fans have to show up and show out, guys. We're not giving these guys a thing. I know they feel like they're feeling themselves right now. They beat City 2-0. New manager bounce. Players are back from AFCON, so they're feeling themselves right now. If we beat them, then they have no excuse. We have their pit ticket, guys. If we beat them, they have no excuse. New manager, right? New manager bounce off the back of a win against City, who's a title contender, and they have all their players back, fit, and ready. All right, guys. So thanks for joining me on an episode of the Lifelong Gunner podcast, guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It really helps the channel to go to a wider audience, and it also helps us to improve the content. All right, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, and we're out.